Hey Herman, 5th and 6th graders. I hope you're all doing well and at home enjoying this extra family time together. I miss you all so much and I am so bummed that we can't be together at Bonanza this spring, and I know many of you guys are as well. But how lucky are we that we can stay connected through technology and your amazing teachers that help line things like this up. I know that this was your guys' last year coming to Bonanza, and I am so glad that I had the chance to hang out with you guys this fall and winter and in previous years. You are such a great group of kiddos, and you're going to do awesome things. If you ever see me around, please do not hesitate to give a shout or say hello. And if you and your families or friends want to go out and visit Bonanza, make sure I'll be there so I can see you and come out and say hi. We've had such a beautiful spring this year, so I hope you're getting outside and enjoying all that extra sunshine when you can. I know this is a really strange time that we're living through, and it might feel like it's never ending, but I promise you things are going to go back to normal, and we're going to maybe appreciate things a little bit more because these little things are the things that are really actually pretty big things, like seeing our teachers face to face and our classmates and all of that. I know that you aren't going to be able to come to Bonanza with your class again, but I am so going to miss your questions and your laughs and your excitement when you come through the door. I have been to Bonanza a few times since the world got a little bit crazy, and I am happy to report that Big Guy, the painted turtle, and Big Girl, the red-eared slider, are doing great, but they do miss you. Your excitement really helps wake them up from their winter torpor. The snakes are in full force this year and more abundant than ever, it seems, since it's been so nice. So if you do go visit Bonanza, make sure to check them out. Not a whole lot has changed at Bonanza since I saw you last, but I'm so ready for some normalcy, and I'm going to miss you so much next spring. So, are you ready for your Bonanza Day? Today I am going to give you and your families a bunch of ideas that you can do together to enjoy nature from the comfort and safety of your own home. Alrighty, here we go. The first activity that you can do while you're safe at home is find a roly-poly. A roly-poly is just one name for a tiny gray crustacean that lives in dead leaves, old boards, and rocks. Some people call them pill bugs, slaters, or woodlice. They look like tiny armadillos. Searching for them is pretty easy, especially when the ground is wet. They can also be kept as pets. Just make sure to look up how to raise a roly-poly and make sure to ask your parents first. When you find them, make sure to examine them closely to see all the tiny little details. This is what a roly-poly looks like. They are not insects, they're actually crustaceans, so they're related to lobsters and crabs. They use gills to breathe, however, they will drown if they're submerged in water. They're scavengers, and they feed on decaying matter, like rotting wood or plants, and they're often found under logs, pots, or piles of leaves. They do not urinate. Instead, they release their waste as a gas. They have 7 pairs of legs and 2 sets of antennae. They roll into a ball to protect themselves from predators, and they can live in extreme environments such as deserts or even Antarctica. There are around 3,000 different species of roly-polies. They have an exoskeleton that sheds as they grow, kind of like the cicadas that we see at Bonanza. They're harmless to humans, but they can cause problems in the garden because they're going to eat what you're growing. Did you know that there are 422 recorded species of birds in Minnesota? Are you familiar with their calls? How about the wing beats of a duck as they fly over, or the buzzing of pollinators? There are so many sounds that we can hear in nature, especially right now as many birds are migrating through and getting ready to lay their eggs. Go outside every day and close your eyes for just a few minutes and listen to the sounds of nature wherever you are. You may be surprised how many different sounds you can come up with. One fun activity that you can do while listening for different sounds is making a sound map. Having ears on opposite sides of our heads helps us, as well as other animals, judge the location that a sound comes from. Find a spot outside and sit quietly. Then, close your eyes and listen to the sounds around you for several minutes. Take a pencil and paper and make a sound map. Put an X in the middle of the page to represent you, and then use a picture or words to show locations of the sounds around you. Use lines to show directions and distances. Have you ever seen a baby frog? Many baby animals look and act a lot like their parents, but tadpoles, the baby stage of life for a frog, is very different from their parents. If you peek in a pond in spring and throughout summer, you may think you're seeing small fish, But come back in a few weeks and you will notice that these fish have grown legs. Take a look and see if you can tell the difference between fish and tadpoles. Go back to your spot over time and see if you can catch some of those tadpoles in their awesome transformation of becoming frogs. One of the most common types of frogs around here is the leopard frog. They will be in their tadpole stage for about 3 to 4 months. Little frogs, like the wood frog, have less time in the tadpole stage at about 2 months. The big bullfrogs can be in the tadpole stage for 2 years, so they stay all the way through winter as a tadpole. A great rainy day activity is for you to go on a worm hunt. Who can find the most worms in your house? A cool trick to finding worms is to find an area with loose, slightly wet soil. The dirt under a log or landscape rocks works excellent. Push a 12 to 18 inch long stick 2 to 3 inches into the ground. Then take another stick and rub from side to side against it for about 2 minutes, and then watch any worms in the area wriggle to the surface. Try this in several areas throughout the yard and see which areas are the hottest worm hangouts. Keep an eye out for baby worms, which are all over this time of year. Scientists aren't exactly sure why these worms wriggle to the surface when this happens, but one theory is that the vibrations made from rubbing the sticks together mimic those of predators, so the underground residents rise to the top to escape. Should we see if this actually works? Spring is such a cool time of year because I love watching everything come to life. Go outside and find a tree and you're going to see tiny, bright green leaves beginning to poke through. Where do these leaves come from and how do they form? Let's see if we can find out. Go outside, grab a twig with a bud on the end, and cut into it and dissect it. Which parts of the tree can you identify? By the time the tree's leaves drop in the fall, its leaves for the next spring are already formed. Tiny leaves, stems, and sometimes flowers are located in these tiny packages called buds. In the spring, sap rises from the roots all the way to the branches, and the scales fall off the buds, and the tree's leaves, stems, and flowers begin to unfold and grow. During the summer, these trees begin to develop new buds for the following year. Soon, all of these trees are going to be full of big leaves, and I cannot wait. From your visits to Bonanza, can you remember what my favorite kind of raptor is? An owl. We are so lucky here because out of the 19 species of owls in North America, Minnesota is home to 12 of these species. My favorite kind of owl is the saw-whet owl, and if you're lucky, you may be able to hear baby owls called owlets peeping at nighttime. Some owls have tufts on top of their head, like this, or facial discs around their ears to help funnel sound directly to them. They have great big eyes. If we were a human-sized owl, our eyeballs would be the size of softballs. These eyes are like long rods, so they can't move them from side to side, but they can turn their head about 3/4 of the way around. This is because they have twice as many vertebrae in their neck as we do. We can only turn our head about halfway around. They swallow their food whole, which is going to be rodents that scurry around at nighttime. A female owl can eat about 1,000 mice a year. When they swallow it, they will then regurgitate it into an owl pellet. They have very sharp and strong beak and claws, and their grip is about 7 to 10 times stronger than our grip. Owls fly completely silent because they have little ruffles along the edge of their wings. There are so many cool facts about owls, and they're just fascinating critters. I love teaching about them, and I'm sure I've already taught you this, but I want to see how creative you guys can be when creating your own owl. Look around the house for some craft supplies or some household supplies like paper plates or anything like that, and create your own owl. Name it and write a little story about it, and then send that back into your teacher, and she can maybe send it to me. Use the information that I just told you about to make your owl as realistic as you can. Speaking of garden, growing a garden or planting a flower is another excellent idea to do while we're stuck at home. Growing plants from seeds is like magic. One tiny object can grow into a whole new plant. This is even more rewarding when those plants produce food that you can eat. I love planting flowers, though I'm not much of a green thumb, but if you do plant some flowers, keep in mind some of the flowers that encourage pollinators like butterflies or bumblebees to come visit. If you plant some of those flowers, it's also a great time to build a bug hotel. You can do this by finding things around your home like twigs, dried leaves, pine cones, rolled up leaves, or whatever else you can get your hands on that you think would provide good habitat for these pollinators. Then put them inside a wood box or a tin soup can or something that will provide them with shelter, and it helps keep them safe from the natural elements, especially during winter. It helps them nest. This is just a scratch on the surface of some of the activities that you guys can do from the comfort of your own homes. But there is one more activity that I think is very important to end our virtual Bonanza adventure from home. S'mores. We can't have a Bonanza day without ending it with s'mores, can we? There are a couple ways that you can make s'mores at home. Each require a little help from an adult, but it's totally worth it. If you have a fire pit and you just want to make s'mores the good old-fashioned way, great. But if you don't have a fire pit, that's okay. I make s'mores over the stove all the time. They get the perfect gooiness this way. You can also make them over the grill, and you're really going to need help with an adult for both of these because they both get super hot and it's a little bit different than over the fire, but here we go. That s'more was delicious and got me so excited for summer. The outdoors is open, so if you and your family are up for an adventure, Bonanza's trails are there for you, and they are so beautiful during the changing spring season. They're going to be quite a bit different than when you visited last time in the fall or the winter. Remember to practice social distancing and stay at least 6 feet away from everybody who is not in your immediate family. Be courteous to others on the trail and make sure you leave plenty of room between you and them while passing. There is lots of trails and room to explore at Bonanza, so if you see someone else on a trail or in a certain area, try going to another spot and come back later. If you take the trail from the building to the beach, look along the edge of the trail for Dutchman's breeches, a little pink wildflower that blooms in the same spot every year. Also, keep your eyes peeled for morel mushrooms along the trail. Though you can't harvest them in the park, spotting them will help train your eyes to see them in other spots. I am told they are a tasty little mushroom. We always see wood sorrel, a cute little pink flower that some of you may have even tasted in the years past. You will see lots of purple violets along the beach trail as well. If you see something cool and you're not sure what it is, make sure to send me a picture. Take a hike up the prairie and see what types of flowers are coming to life up there. Explore through the trail behind the building and check out Benkowski Falls. Have a leaf race or follow it up to see if you can find the artesian spring where water comes out of the ground. Show your family the snake den in the grass in front of the building. That's there because there used to be an old house with a stone foundation, kind of like the barn that's down by the parking lot, and when it got torn down, it was buried there, and the rocks created the perfect habitat for snakes to hang out. On the sunny days, they're going to be all over the grass, so walk out there slowly and see how many you can find. Grab your fishing poles and fish off the beach. If you catch any fish, make sure to send me a picture, otherwise I might not believe you. There is so much to do at Bonanza and right in your own backyards. Get out and get some fresh air wherever you are. I am so glad I had the chance to hop on a video and give you some ideas of activities that you can do. I hope you enjoyed them, and I miss everyone so much. I cannot wait for our fall field trips to begin. Stay healthy and have a great summer. Bye!